It's the Go Gopher podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 18. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're going to talk more Golden Gopher football on this week's edition of the Go Gopher podcast. Excited to bring our Gopher Radio Network crew plus one together for the podcast. We'll review the spring game, we'll look ahead to 2022, and then give some unfiltered stories from the Big Ten road as well. Daryl Thompson, Justin Guard, and our friend and colleague Corbu Stathes, who's now the voice of the St. Thomas Tommies, will be my guest on the Go Gopher podcast this week. It's episode 18. Our Go Gopher podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone. And True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation today. Make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Our podcast is also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland and ChamplinInsurance.com. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast. You can go back and listen to past Go Gopher podcast. Last week, for example, we had St. Paul Pioneer Press football writer Andy Greeter talking Golden Gopher football. They are free to listen and free to subscribe. More football talk this week from the Gopher Radio Network broadcast crew when we come back. First, a word from Tony.
Hey, Gopher fans, this is your State Farm agent, Tony Hoagland. We are super excited to be part of the new Mike Grimm Show on Talk North. For the year of 2022, we will be donating $10 to the University of Minnesota Children's Masonics Hospital for everyone that calls our office or checks in with us online and mentions that they heard about us on Talk North and the Mike Grimm Show. We are really excited again that Mike came on board with Talk North. You can reach us at 763-421-4900. You can find us on the web at ChamplinInsurance.com. Again, 763-421-4900 or find us on the web at ChamplinInsurance.com. Roll the boat, Sky Yuma, go Gophers.
All right, off and running, and episode number 18. The Gopher Radio Network crew ready to go. We have the great Daryl Thompson, the all-time leading rusher in Golden Gopher football history. DT, always good to spend time with you.
Hey, one thing I like doing, Mike, is spending time with you and, and Justin. And we're lucky. Corbu's sitting in. I don't know if he's going to say anything today, but
for sure he is.
We're lucky to have Corbu, the voice of the Tommies.
The Tommies. We're going to let the Tommies infiltrate the Gopher land here for a minute. We'll go down memory lane, but Corbu, good to see you.
Always good to be here, too. I'm mostly here for DT and JG.
Yeah, for sure.
And a little Graham.
100%. Yeah, for sure. So Corbu, for a long time, was the voice of Gopher women's basketball and was our pregame, halftime, postgame contributor on the Gopher football broadcast as well. Filled in for me on some of the men's games when we had some scheduling conflicts, and now is the first ever voice of the St. Thomas Tommies as a Division I institution. Just completed his first year. We'll talk a little about that as well. And then unfortunate for the Gopher women's basketball fans, they this past year had to listen to Justin Guard cover their games after the number of professional years that Corbu turned in. JG, good to see you.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Hi, great to be back. I really feel, episode 19, I feel like I was just on this. Like episode 12.
Well, you got your 15 minutes of fame earlier this year. Yeah.
I got a lot of my favorite compliments that I got about the women's basketball job with Corbu, they would say, at the beginning, we really, really missed Corbu. Well, you did a pretty good job by the end of it. I go, trust me, Lynette felt the same way, my partner. We all missed Corbu. But you weren't really that far away, because how many times did I call you or FaceTime you or text you and say, hey, I got a problem, I got an issue? It seemed like weekly.
It was almost like I never left.
It's true.
It was really nice.
Thank you at the end of the season.
You should have given him half your game check.
I know. He was part of the
games.
crew. He was still part of the crew, even though he was somewhere in the Summit League. He was 100% part of the crew multiple times. Either I was texting him or Lynette was texting him. But yeah, we really missed Corbu right away. Thank you.
No one reached out to me and told me they missed me. So I think you might be making that part of it.
Got a few tweets, few texts here and there. Well, of course, JG is the sideline reporter for Gopher football broadcast, in addition to his Gopher women's basketball duties, and then is on KFAN locally here with Dan Barrero in the afternoon, and that's how most people, I think, know him, right?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
famous.
That's one of how many jobs do you have now? The Too Much Talking show on Fox 9?
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
amazing,
now co-host of this podcast.
Now here you are.
Apparently.
Well, you're about 10% of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, hey, when I was playing professional football, they always said, the more you can do. So, Justin, the more you can do, I tell my wife that, hey, got a side hustle, you got to have another side hustle. You know, I got multiple side hustles. Keep things rolling.
Guardsy is a side piece with the side hustle.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to tell stories, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll just hijack.
That's what a podcast is all about.
But I think I'm not saying I would get DT as big of an ovation as you do. Whenever we do like a soda social or something like that, because you're Daryl Thompson.
You bring in the Iowa?
Yes.
Yeah, this is
it's
amazing.
my favorite story because you're the all-time leading rusher. But I feel like it wouldn't be like a 41 donut route like when the Giants beat the Vikings, the NFC Championship game. You've heard this story, right, Corbu? Cedar Rapids, my first year.
No.
First year.
We're at the Marriott, right?
Yeah, Marriott, Cedar Rapids. They do a soda social. We don't do those as much anymore. I wish they'd bring them back. They're kind of fun. And
Night before the game.
Yeah, Gopher
Iowa,
fans.
what, 2013, 2014?
That was 2011.
2011.
My first year was 2011.
Okay,
Yeah.
2011.
So we're down in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids more specifically. Soda Social's there. And so, there's probably, 100 Gopher fans or something that packed the Cedar Rapids Marriott.
Probably more.
So good crowd. And the whole bit is, Mike is the MC. And I don't know if Norwood was there, if it was Joel Maturi. Maybe it was 2012. I think 2011, actually, the game was here in Iowa, or here in Minnesota. So, because Norwood Teague was there, the old athletic director. You should have him on as a guest.
Yeah.
Review his time.
Absolutely.
And so, Corbu, they go, so Grimmer's up
This
there.
got dark
and
quick.
he's introducing, Jerry Kill came down because it was a team hotel, and Mike's introducing him. We got some other people in the audience. He's the number one all-time leading rusher in Gopher history. Everybody's favorite. Been with the broadcast forever. Daryl Thompson. Place goes nuts. Because Gopher fans love DT. Why wouldn't they? I mean,
Everybody loves DT.
Just raucous applause.
Like people are like literally shaking, like literally pumping their fist in the back. Woo! Yeah.
So it's like, and he goes, and our sideline guy is in his second year, Justin Guard.
That was it.
Nothing.
It was I'm like, ooh.
Here's how I know. One guy, Derek Ingles' dad. Remember the old wide receiver who I still see from Derek Ingles' dad gave me a nice round of applause.
There was one dude like, hey, here's Justin Guard.
Because I knew him.
That was about it.
Because he listened to the fans, so I knew him, and that was about it. And I remember going up to Grimmer, and I'm going, Grimmer, like, how stupid are you? Like, how many events have you build up to Daryl Thompson? You don't lead with Daryl Thompson in the Gopher crowd, especially this audience, because everybody there, I mean, they probably had been season ticket holders since at least Daryl played.
I thought, here's my...
Probably before.
My theory, in retrospect, I should have introduced you first to some moderate applause and then built up. But what happened, I thought, as I'm doing this...
Moderate is strong.
I thought maybe you'd get some leftovers. And
some residuals.
Some residual. Just kind of no, it was...
But that was at the beginning where they still questioned your loyalty a little
100%.
bit, too.
I was still fighting the Iowa thing. I was fighting the KFAN thing because we were super negative. And they just didn't know who I... Like, literally, no one in that room probably listened to KFAN. I think now it's evened out a little bit.
You're right.
The Gopher fan base is a little bit younger. And again, I'm not saying that you should lead with, or you should let me go last now.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can at least be introduced in the same vicinity.
Yeah, and people would cheer.
There was no reason for it.
That was pretty good.
I've never been... It was great. Yeah. I just go, what are we doing? Yeah. You can't lead with DT and then drop me off.
I just thought there'd be a little holdover applause, and you just you'd ride on the coattails.
No, they fired
Did
the
you
bullet.
at least buy dinner at the Sid Rail?
We did. That's where we went. Was that? I don't know if we went that year.
Early before we went to the Sid.
Yeah, that was before.
But that is probably the high. I mean, obviously we love the games, and we hope the Gophers win and all of that. But the night before games is, as we've dubbed it, the fellowship. That's fun. We have, now that we've been around and been to places multiple times, of course, we have some normal hangouts. And then it's fun, too, to sometimes get into some new ones also where all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're in Chicago. Where do we go? And next thing you know, Daryl's got a bill for $300.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. That was, I forget the name of the place last year at Northwestern, but.
I think I might have had a few little bit of the brown water.
Johnny Walker showed up on that bill somehow. Yes.
You had some tough runs in Illinois. I mean, Illinois was the barbecue place where you had 2 beers and we're like $40 in before we even sat down.
I want some local beers.
Pick the wrong
vodka.
ones.
Local vodka, and it turns out it was like Texas vodka.
Tito's. Pretty popular vodka. Not from Ann Arbor.
He said it was local. I said, that's a bartender right there. Just tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah. That's always that's certainly fun when the night before. All right, so we're gonna tell some road stories. Guardsy, you got us off to a good start there. Yes, thank you.
Humiliating night.
Yeah, that was.
Well, I never actually went on the road with you guys, so I still.
Did you not go any? You went to Colorado State.
Went to Colorado State,
and you got me the spotter that quit on me about the middle of the fourth quarter. Your buddy.
Yeah, my buddy. Well, he'd had enough of you. It was weird.
Yeah, I do occasionally wear out my welcome. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, Corbu. I said I need a spotter. Corbu was like, I got a guy. And like middle of the fourth quarter, the dude just quit spotting. That was it. That was all she wrote. I think he might have had some other things going on in his life as well. But that was. But we had a good time. We had a good time.
You say we were in Colorado.
Yeah, he might have had some local beers beforehand too.
That was. But you were on that. Did we break bread together the night before there, or did you have your own? Because your family's from there.
Yeah, I think I was on my own.
Yeah.
Mostly because I was in Colorado and I wanted to see people I liked.
Yeah. Right. No question.
Well, you got a following there. You get back there. It's that's Corbu territory.
Yeah.
You got
that's. I go there and I'm like, hey, Corbu, and it's raucous.
Yeah, for sure.
Raucous,
I mean, they have pom poms they bring out.
It's like a political rally.
The Gophers did just complete the spring game, so let's get that stuff out of the way now, because there are some people that want to hear what Daryl Thompson thought of what he saw last Saturday with the spring game. And one, it was fun just to even if it was indoors and whatever, and there weren't a lot of fans there because of the weather. I thought it was fun just to get together again, see the team. Football at any point of the year is high on my list, and so that part was great, right?
Absolutely.
What did you see? What did you want to see? And what was your impression coming out of last week's spring game?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about it, because I think that a lot of guys didn't play, which I think is actually kind of states the growth of the program. That Coach Fleck, that we don't have to watch, Rodney Smith have like 20 carries during the spring game, and Tyler Johnson have like 9 catches. I said, well, I'm pretty confident that Tyler, Rashad Bateman, they're going to be guys, that they're going to play at the next level, and they currently are. So I was impressed with some of the young guys that got a chance. The Wright brothers that they're not really brothers, but the Wrights that played.
It's a good receiver. Nickname. I might have to use that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think some young running backs, some linebackers. So I mean, I think there's I don't even have any names off the top of my head, but I think there's some guys looked the part and played the part, and I think that it will be added depth. And I'm really curious what the next step is going forward. And I think fall will be really interesting. I think there's some depth, with Tanner coming back and Muhammad, and Chris Almond-Bell. So I mean, there's a lot of things that are like should be cool and fun, and Coach Chirac coming back. I think that we have missed him. Nothing against Sanford, but it just didn't work. Yep. So just kind of like we're just moving forward. And I was kind of like, Chirac was a very, very good offensive coordinator for the University of Minnesota, and I was impressed with his play calling. I thought he kept people off balance and was attacking and setting up the next play and doing that. And he was teaching his quarterback. I felt like the last 2 years, Tanner Morgan's probably regressed a little bit, which is on. He was playing like a late round, NFL draft choice, 2 years ago, and maybe I thought he'd just kind of move up. And the last 2 years, it's been like, I feel like I'm making excuses. So I'm excited to have him back in the building for those purposes as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like right off the bat, it was clear they wanted to establish, look, we can throw the football. And then you got to the fourth quarter. It was a tie game. It did get into like control the ball, set up for field goal, what have you, that's got to be part of the arsenal. Your thoughts on JG, the spring game? You got the sideline view as always.
Which I can never tell what's going on. I have no idea. But what I liked Ethan Callan McManus. You can see why they like him so much. He's got a lot of talent, and it seems like it's backup quarterback for people that don't know. And it seems like they're excited. Like he's basically like 2 steps forward, 1 step back right now, which apparently used to be the reverse. It used to be like he'd do one thing and then do 3 things that were just off the charts dumb. Now he's flipped it. He had that interception that was kind of an easy pick for whoever intercepted it. But
Miles Fleming.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't get to see a ton, and because you saw there was like 700 parents there, and then it felt like 300 recruits. But what I loved about it was I think PJ and staff, they are very smart.
Speaking of fellowship, you had a lot of fellowship on the sideline. It was every time I tried to talk to you, I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah, it's right. But a lot of the people I were talking to were in the National Football League. Yeah. I think that was the best thing of the spring game that they're smart because there were a ton of recruits there, right? A lot of high priority ones as well, including some in-state kids. And Rashad Bateman, first-round pick, Antoine Winfield, second-round pick, Carter Coughlin, pick, Kamal Martin, NFL guy. They're the coaches.
And Boye Mafe, recent pick, with 24 hours young.
They're hanging out with the recruits before the game.
Yep.
all talking about how much they love the university. Because, I mean, you know this, Daryl. Like, the players, however old they are, they like college. They all want to be pros, right?
No doubt.
Everything is about how do I get to the highest level. And so I just think they're really smart in featuring those guys, and good for those guys for wanting to be back. And PJ even said that with me after. He goes, I'm glad they want to come back because it shows that they had a good experience here. And the funniest part was when Boye Mafe showed up, it took about 4 seconds to get 3 recruits in front of him.
Yeah,
Any defensive line recruit they had, it was like, hey, come on over.
Yeah.
He just got drafted by the Seahawks last night. He's going to fly out to me. You want to take a picture? Sure. Picture, that's on social media. Like, that's just a smart way to use the spring game, I think, to just keep and now they can do that. Tyler Johnson was there too. I mean, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. Tyler's there, talking with people. So I just think that's really, really smart to utilize the spring game that way and get those NFL guys back as much as you can.
And part of it certainly is for effect, but I think there's some genuine feeling of family, right, with that that group, and I think that's important to showcase as well.
100%.
Like, you got a guy, I mentioned it on the air, and maybe it's not as uncommon as I think it is, but a guy Friday night gets drafted in the second round, and the next day he could do just about anything he wants, and he chooses to come to the spring game to hang out with his buddies.
If you're a football player,
well, you got probably a family in town.
All the time, you did marry a football player.
Yeah.
So football will be on TV. Probably a third of my friends, half of my friends are football players or now broadcast partners. So I would be at the spring because who are my best friends? My best friend that I still text every single day was the co-captain when I was my last 2 years at the University.
And you
of Minnesota.
still every day text
every single day we text each other, laugh, joke, tell stupid things to each other. Yeah, every single day. So we every day we talk. So that what am I going to go hang out in a bar and
Well, I mean, in his case, Seattle flew him out the next day, I think, for media availability. So I don't know if he put it off or what have you. So I think there's a lot going on. I'm sure he had some family in town and different things.
Yeah,
so
he
it was
could
great.
do other things, but he wanted to be with his friends. I mean, in a great way. He wanted to be with. That's his family.
Those are his guys, right? Yeah.
Bateman in our room before the game. And he's like, I felt just getting off the plane. It smells like Minnesota. I cut my teeth here. I'm excited to be back here. It just feels good. Like I feel relaxed. Like being here. So I was like, that's. That he didn't have to, he definitely didn't have to. He could just say, hey, you know what, I'm busy, I'm training in Arizona, and send a tweet out. Hey, man, I wish he's like, I've got on a plane, I come here, I'm an honorary captain, so he gets a free meal and he gets to stand on the sideline, of which is not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal. He wanted to be back here with his friends, with his brothers, with his teammates.
Well, to your point, Grimmer, I don't know if it's as rare as we think it is, but it's rare for here.
Yeah,
it's different here, which I'm sure this happens at a lot of places, right? But it's nice that we can play that game now.
It's nice that you're here now. Yeah,
it's nice that the Gophers can play that game now.
So and it's always hard, right? There's always been, over the course of years watching spring games wherever, there's guys that flash that never pan out to be stars. Some of them do, and there's reasons. Like Bateman, his first spring game was awesome, and it's like, yeah, that's who he's going to be. And then there's some other guys who have rushed for 100 yards in a spring game, and we never hear from them when they
Why you got to do Cole Banham like that?
That's not who I was thinking of.
Why do you got to do Cole Banham like that? He had a nice career.
That's not who I was thinking of.
He's going to edit that out now, Mr. Conservative.
There was another. No, I don't care. There was another guy I was thinking of, and I can't remember his name because I'm over 50 now, and my memory's not as good as it used to be. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So it's sometimes dangerous to read too much into spring games. But so here were I had 4 thoughts going in.
Right.
Wow.
Passing game, and I think the numbers weren't that impressive completion percentage wise, but just the commitment to it. We saw some things that were just back to familiar, right? It's just different. That's good. So I think we passed that test in watching that. 2 was offensive line, 3 was defensive line. You just don't know, right? You're going to have 4 new starters, and I don't know yet about the offensive line, and you can't base it anyway, even if we loved it. I will say this. I was impressed with the defensive line. I think that question mark, who knows if it's been answered. Austin Booker looked great. Jacob Schuster, I thought, at the defensive tackle spot, that's a guy most people probably haven't heard of. Redshirt freshman, thought he looked good. So I think that part was passed. And then running backs, because you had 2 guys transfer out that you thought were going to be contributors, and you have the 2 guys that suffered season-ending injuries last year. We knew they wouldn't play. And I thought there were some answers there. Zach Evans, I thought, looked good. He made a great catch on one play, put some wiggle on one play, turned the corner on one play. So I think that question was answered. I had less questions about that just because I had seen Evans and a couple of others in practice, but that was my amateur assessment of on-field activity there.
Yeah, it's always tough, especially with linemen in the spring game. There's such a tremendous familiarity with the people and with their moves. And last year, I was pretty excited about our defensive line. And as the season, I was like, they're good. Not quite exactly what I was thinking during the spring game, but it's progress in the right direction. I was there's the young guy, the defensive end, the long kid,
Booker.
Right? I think he's got potential. If he gets kind of like a little bit kind of high, and people get under his pads. But I think as he learns and gets a little bit more physical and trust and sprints to the ball. I mean, he's a I hope like a bigger version of Carter Coughlin.
Yeah,
he's taller, he's longer, and he's lankier. Carter had has a motor that he played with, and if he can kind of emulate that motor and you just can't turn it off. If you don't turn it off, then your mistakes get amplified. But if you do turn it off, then it's like you got a mess.
Yeah.
So I like him.
Let me ask you guys this as a semi-outsider now. The offensive line, right? Like they were together for 6 years, something ridiculous like
a lot
that.
of them.
So you have to kind of start over there. And then you talk about family as well and Coach Shiraka coming back. But that's saying you can never go home again, right? So those to me would be the big question marks. Like on paper, it all looks great. But can he come back and have it? Can they recreate that magic? Because sometimes that interruption is enough to really, an interruption becomes a permanent disruption, right? So that offensive line and that is, if those can come back together, then great. But that to me would be the question marks.
I was wondering about that too, because I think a couple of reasons. Sometimes, Kirk Shiraka left on his own, right? I mean, it was, and so sometimes is there ill will? And I think there were some hurt feelings right away. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think, you get over that because those guys go back a long ways.
Right.
I think it's recent enough. Obviously, he had history with Tanner Morgan. He recruited Ethan Kaliak-Manis and Cole Kramer. And Coach Cole was here as well. So 3 of those guys in that room, that lead the offense, he knew. So I think that helps. And it sounds like we had him on this podcast, Guardsy. I did. You weren't part of that one.
What? The one he wasn't a part of?
Yeah, the one he wasn't a part of. I thought it was a fascinating discussion. He talked openly about it. He said, and the other thing that he brought up was sometimes, he had been around that group of coaches for a long time, back to Western Illinois. That's a long time. And all of a sudden, he goes out. He's at Penn State for a year. He's at West Virginia for a year. And you get some other ideas.
Right.
And so now he's brought some newer concepts or different concepts. Sometimes maybe they're better, sometimes maybe they're not. But now you've got a debate as to how can maybe you get a little better. So I think it probably is a healthy thing. As it turns out, all's well that ends well. That's my theory.
He has the trust of Coach Fleck.
That's it.
We know that Coach Fleck controls the narrative of the team and the pulse of the team. So that to me is like, okay. So if Coach Fleck welcomes him back with open arms and they see them walking, chumming around, because there was some bad chemistry last year with the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach, and there's just wasn't healthy communication and laugh and chumming, working together. Yep. And I don't think that's the case with them, Coach Shiraka. They feel good, they're laughing, they're joking, they're eating together. Those things matter a lot, especially when because a team coaches are a family. If you're not getting along, you got 2 brothers that don't get along or don't really like each other, then you have little chasms, and they're kind of like you get you against you versus, and then you try to make a point like, wow, I knew that wasn't going to work anyway. Versus, shoot, let's figure this out together. We believed in it. Shoot, it didn't work. Versus, man, Justin's, that's a bad idea, and even if it works, then you're kind of like, oh yeah.
And I give Shiraka credit too, just in that this was. It's not as easy, I think, as people think. Just when you leave on your own somewhere and maybe it didn't work out like you had hoped, to come back, that's probably not the easiest thing to decide to do. But I think he was comfortable enough with everything. And in talking with him, he seems more comfortable now than he did before. Like, I think he's really that now. Like you said, Daryl, at the end of the day, you got to win games. But I think it's a great question, Corbu. I really do, because there's so many dynamics to it. But and maybe I'm just in this place where there's some euphoric or whatever. But I think he seems more comfortable now. I think he just seems like he's in his element. I think he realizes that this is the spot for him. Maybe I've read it all wrong.
He might have been humbled a little bit by the situation.
And he just seems in a good spot. He just seems comfortable, and not that he wasn't before, but because you didn't know how that would go. So far, I think it's been a good situation.
Well, to the chemistry thing, DT, what I am excited to see is I think he's got the gravitas. You mentioned the trust with Fleck. I think he's maybe the one guy on staff that can tell PJ when he's being dumb, too.
You're right.
And
Yes.
it's like, I mean, you look at the Bowling Green and Illinois games last year. Part of those losses, they played horrible, but part of that was 100% the head coach being mad about something in the first half and just shutting things down, right? Because the passing game wasn't going very well. And you know how PJ is. Like, if he thinks he can win a game running it 75 times, that's what he's going to do, right? And I don't know if they lose those games if Shiraka's the coordinator, because Shiraka's going to go, look, Michael Brown-Stevens dropped a pass, or we threw an interception. Guess what? We can't just abandon it. We can't, because I do think that happened.
Well, you went for it 4th and 1 at your own 29 and didn't get it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I think he's the guy that's going to be, hey, we got to be patient with it. If something's not going right away, I think he's got the ear to say, we got to stay with it. We got to trust me on this. Let's not abandon this because this happened. Let's kind of keep your oar in the water, to steal a phrase.
Yes.
I don't know if Mike Sanford had the ability, because, I mean, Shiraka runs the offense, but PJ, like you said, dictates how the thing goes. He does kind of decide how things are going to roll. I think Shiraka can tell him, hey, no, we don't need to do it that way. We got
more of a peer.
Yeah, even in
exactly.
the podcast, I asked him, like, how much does PJ talk to you in a game? And he's like, you'd be surprised, not much.
Interesting.
Not much. He's like, decision 4th and 1, do you got to play? He goes, there's times I'll say, let's punt. And he'll say, okay. And there's times that I got to play. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. And so I think there is that trust. And he talked about in that podcast, if people want to listen from a couple weeks ago, podcast 17, I think, Guardsy.
Got it.
That the trust was the whole thing. The trust was the whole thing. And PJ's always said, he's on record forever, that Kirk's the best listener I've ever had. And I asked him about it. I'm like, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? You listen to PJ Fleck? And he's like, I just listen. And I'm willing to give feedback. And sometimes I say, great idea, love it. Sometimes I say, I'm not in love with that idea. Let's not do that.
Right.
And, that I think that's part of it. So I do think there's, I like I said, I don't know what it will mean, but Kirk, to me, just in watching him, it just seems like, to me, he seems in a better spot. Not that he was in a bad spot. Obviously, 2019 was unbelievable, but he really seems happy, I think. That's my take.
Right. It's interesting. I mean, I'm a believer that great listeners are typically great leaders and great coaches. If you listen and try to get a young man or your team into a position where they can be successful, you're kind of like, I really like this. Coaches that I really worked well with, like, what works for you today? What's working for you? What's working for the quarterback? What do you like to throw? And that open line of communication gets somebody in their sweet spot, and you can have a lot more success like that.
Yeah, and I was also interested. He talked about at West Virginia for the year. He's friends with Coach Brown there from way back in the day as well. He was an analyst, so he really wasn't calling plays. He wasn't in charge of much. He's like, it's the greatest job ever. Yeah, you offer up opinions, and if they don't work, you don't have to no accountability. But
make a couple $100,000.
Yeah,
get some gear.
It was great. But that said, that said, he, Coach Brown's got. I mean, he's known for some pretty good offenses and some different wrinkles and some things over. So I think that year, we'll probably see a wrinkle or two that's new that he learned. It's like a year-long coaching clinic, that you're taking some new stuff and, I hadn't thought of that. So it should be fun to see where it all melds into offensively. And it's also interesting as you look ahead to the fall because, now the important time is off-season. It's the boring time for us because there's not much to talk about. Hopefully, the best off-season is when there's not much news. And those guys are lifting weights and doing 7-on-7 and captain's practices and all that.
Training like you, Mike. They're training like
I got to work out in today. I mean, my off season starts today.
Yeah,
I took a couple days after the spring game. Yeah.
Seriously though, DT's walking down the hallway before this. I'm like, the dude looks like he could still pad up.
Well, no. How about when we had COVID and he's working out with his college kids? He's taking shirtless photos on Instagram.
I was not. I was with them.
I don't know. You look pretty cut up. The one.
I was trying. It's all about camera angle.
Man. Yeah. It's like that's why I always make Daryl go to the stadium. I'm getting in first because I don't want to walk in the stadium with that guy because I already look bad.
You don't want to do a guardsy on him where you introduce him after Daryl.
Yeah, exactly. No question. But anyway, looking ahead to the fall of 2022, the schedule's interesting to me because you've got, I think. top to bottom, maybe a little easier schedule than last year. Ohio State's off the schedule. That alone makes it different. Like even when you look last year at the standings, so Iowa wins the West. They don't play Michigan, Michigan State, or Ohio State, right? Wisconsin and Minnesota finish second. Wisconsin plays, I think, 2 of those 3. Minnesota plays Ohio State. So any one of those games like Minnesota plays Rutgers instead of Ohio State, they might be in Indy. So the schedule's important. I think it's easier. That said, there are some tough games. You're at Penn State, you're at Michigan State, you're at Wisconsin, you're at Nebraska. And I know Nebraska has not done much. Man, they just added another defensive tackle transfer. They got the quarterback from Texas. They got a D tackle that had a bunch of sacks from TCU.
Yep.
Who knows? It seems like it's a bunch of mercenaries. That's kind of been the way they've recruited. The kid from Texas that was one of the top recruits in the country, started for Texas some last year. Will he be good? Don't know. But anyway, they're going to be. That's not going to be an easy game just because you beat them 2 years in a row. That's going to be a hard game in Lincoln. We've seen Lincoln.
Yes, we have.
It's hard. And the thing is, they played a bunch of close games. Jerry Kill always talked about that when you're turning a program. You get blown out first year. You get kind of blown out the second year, then you lose close games, and then you get a win. Some big win somewhere changes everything, and you start winning games. So hopefully they don't get a big win early because who knows? I think they're closer than people think, but I think closer either way. Like
it's a tipping point.
Yeah, they're probably not too far from changing the whole thing, and they're probably not too far from contending for the West, and we'll see where they go. So those are 4 tough road games. Colorado at home, who knows? It's a mystery. So I think it's Iowa at home. You got to beat them finally at some point. I think it's a fascinating schedule. Daryl, what do you think?
Well, I think I agree with you 100%. It is fascinating. And I also think that we're kind of at a turning point with Coach Fleck and his staff. I think they have confidence. They have the people they want to have in place. I mean, even just thinking about the young men that sat out, the young guys that are going to the NFL, the guys that are coming to currently play here, I think there's a little bit more, I wouldn't call it swagger, but a little bit more confidence in what they're doing. So hopefully with Coach Sherrod coming back, with their schedule, the way it lays out, I think we'll be in. To me, in the beginning, you just want to, as you're turning the program, like, Coach Kill talks about, Coach Fleck talked about, you want to be in games. I don't feel like when I walk or when I'm building my board to get ready for the game, like, man, I sure hope that this guy's not good enough. I don't feel like when I'm looking at, like when I study film, I'm like, well, we can't do anything with that guy. So right now, I feel like we have the ammunition, a little bit like our Timberwolves. Like I used to just watch, God, it's going to take a miracle to win. Now I'm like, actually, we have the people. We got to make a decision.
Now let's hold on. Let's close games.
Yeah. Well, that's more than just watching other teams
100%.
play. Yeah.
No doubt. And I agree with that part of it too. And this, like you look at the schedule, we've broadcast for certain years, early in the Jerry Kill years, because he was trying to turn it around and it had gone into the tank at that point, where you look at the schedule and you're like, possible win, no chance. Possible win. There's nothing on the schedule now where you're no chance. Right. Even last year's Ohio State game, they're leading that game in the early third quarter, and then it got away from them a little bit with a couple of big plays. But there's no game on the schedule now where it's one of those where you look at no chance. Doesn't mean you're gonna. Clearly, they're not going to go undefeated. We don't think, but I think that's an important step. But you and I were at Northwestern. I've told this story before. We're up in the press box. At that point last year, they were the defending West champs. Now they struggled last year. Man, I forgot. They really struggled last year. They had one Big Ten win. Forgot to Illinois beat them. They hung like 50 on them or 47 that last week. Anyway, sidebar. Guardsy and I are up in the press box, and they had won 2 of the last 3 Big Ten West. Yeah. And you're like, and we're, I don't know, an hour out from kick, and there's 73 people in the stands, and it's just, it's a different environment. They have the great facilities, and they've won some big games, and we were like, how do they do it? How have they been in that game? And we discussed it, and I said, I think here's why. In the Big Ten West, they beat Wisconsin sometimes, and they beat Iowa a little bit more than sometimes. Yeah. And if you can beat Wisconsin sometimes and Iowa a little bit more than sometimes, you're going to be in Indy a couple times, over the course of a 4 or 5 year stretch.
Exactly.
Minnesota's played even 2-2 the last 4 years with Wisconsin. Hopefully that rivalry stays, you hold your own. Now the question is, you beat Iowa, you got them at home this year, you win that game, that got moved to November. I kind of actually liked it better, the way that set up to be in September originally. But anyway, that game, that November closing stretch is going to be a beast. Yeah. But
that's the way it's been the last few years.
You're probably gonna be able to control your own destiny in November, and if you beat Iowa, you got a shot to be in Indy.
I like how it's set up, how they've done that the last X amount of years, where if you handle your business for the first 6 or 7 weeks, November is going to matter. I think that's better for, even if you didn't feel like you had a team that could actually do it, because there's been times where that's happened too. But just to have that, like November 2nd, whatever it is, hey, this is a big game for the West. And I'm just talking about for anybody, for Nebraska, for Northwestern. I like how they've kind of backloaded it with those rivalries, because it has made it fun to have a lot at stake. As much it wasn't fun when you lose last November in Iowa City, because you knew, because that's 100% right, Grimmer. Like, had they beaten Iowa in 2019, they're probably in Indy. Had they beaten, well, they would have been. I remember Wisconsin, the players, they would have clinched it with nothing on the line the next week against Wisconsin, or 2 weeks later, because I think they played Northwestern or somebody after that. So that opened the door for Wisconsin to win the West that year, when you didn't beat Iowa, when you had that really good undefeated team at the point.
And last year, if they win in Iowa City, they're in.
Exactly,
probably,
right. So that is the story. And I think, to Daryl's point, the fact that they've joined the battle with Wisconsin by beating them 2 out of the last 4 times, and the overtime game during the pandemic, that was another game where it's like, man, if Chirac the coordinator there, do they play it that tight? Yeah. Or do they just, use the players that they have to win it? And that was a weird year, obviously. But yeah, the story is, you beat Iowa and you're going to be in a pretty good spot. Because I'm guessing, I don't know what the over-unders are. I'm guessing Iowa's is at about 8. Guessing Minnesota's is about 7, 8. I'm guessing Wisconsin's 8 or 9. Like, they're all going to be in that. So it's whoever wins those games in November.
And Purdue won 9 last year.
That's right.
Who knows? They got a big transfer. Their quarterback, I forget.
Yeah,
now
they have probably the best quarterback in the West. David Bell's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Karlaftis isn't there anymore. Yeah, that was a sneak. Like, people don't think about that win. That was a hell of a win for the Gophers last year.
That's probably the best win on paper in retrospect.
I agree.
When you look at Purdue beat Iowa when they were ranked 2. They beat Michigan State when they were ranked, 2, 4, 5, something in there.
Win. Yeah.
And they won 9.
Yeah.
And Minnesota went into their place coming off the Bowling Green game.
Yeah.
And beat them.
Yeah. Didn't they win? I mean, they were kind of like mentally, they were losing. Like, it was a little weird. Their team was like a little, we got them at the right time. But we didn't beat them. At the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't, a W is a W.
Right.
And like Grimmer said, off of Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And that's probably why people kind of lost the starch after that a little bit.
That cloud still hangs a little bit. Yeah. Like, I still haven't processed it, because I can't believe how that game happened. You just move on from it, though. And I when people say, boy, that they could have won 10 or they could have won 11, I always am like, well, look, those. First of all, the Illinois loss is not as the disaster people think.
Agree.
They won 5. They should have beaten Iowa the next week. Yep. Iowa got a kick return and an interception return for a touchdown,
of course,
like they did most of the year.
Yeah.
And I think Illinois outgained them, first downed them at Kinnick. So they could, and then they put like 48 or something on Northwestern the last week. So it wasn't that's not the disaster people think it is. I mean, Minnesota should have never been a 14-point favorite in that game, but people, they're a 2-touchdown favorite and lost. Now, that doesn't excuse just a horrific offensive day that was, but anyway, that's not as bad of a loss. The Bowling Green loss still hangs. That said, they don't win 9 that they don't grow on trees, 9-win seasons, 9+ win seasons. So I think you have to take it for what it's worth. And 2, they beat Wisconsin and they won that road game at Purdue. Now the Wisconsin game they pretty much controlled. That Purdue game was hanging in the balance. So they won a close game. So I think it all balances out. They probably won what they deserved to win over the course of the year, 9 games, and they got a bowl win and they won the Axe. I mean, that's a pretty damn fine year.
Well, and I don't know if they beat Wisconsin if they don't lose the way they did to Iowa, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because had they beaten Iowa, how they did it, trying to kick field goals and control the clock and just kick them up and down the field, and for me, the Wisconsin game, I thought it was a lesson learned, because when they got that interception right at the beginning, it's like they weren't stacking points that week. It was 2 passes, touchdown, changed the whole game. Like, had they not been burned by that approach a couple weeks ago, even though publicly PJ said, no, stacking points, and he wouldn't admit it, I think that was an admission that we blew it 2 weeks ago. And you can't back, to bring it all full circle, you can't back your way into the West. Like, you got to go beat them.
You got to beat some
right?
people.
You got to, and that's what Northwestern has done, to your point, Grimmer. You got to go. And they beat Wisconsin. I mean, up and down the field that day,
they outplayed them for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, 100% deserved to win that. In fact, the only touchdown they scored was the pick 6 early. Braylon Allen was a non-factor. They had a great, Joe Rossi put together just a great game plan.
You called that early, DT, that he was tired of being hit.
Well, I'd watch film on him, and and he's also like, young guys take blows.
Yeah,
and you learn you cannot take blows. I mean, that's like Allen Iverson talking to Jay Morant. He's like, dude, the floor don't give. You got to stop just jumping and just letting people, not like you don't let people chop you out of the air, but Braylon was letting people into his body, and he was getting up. And I was like, when you start getting up, intentional, it means you're you're hurting in it. And we were tagging him, and gang tackling and taking good angles.
Rumor was he was only 17. I don't know if anyone knew
He's
that.
18 now.
He's 18 now, but every game,
the best looking 17.
That became a drink. Not that they need excuses to drink in Wisconsin, but that became a drinking game in Wisconsin. Every time the announcer said he's only 17, he should be in high school. You drink, and you're drunk by 3 minutes into the game. Yeah. Because every time he touched the ball, they said it. All right, Corbu, you've got spring football this week. Won't be a broadcast, but the Tommies will have one this weekend on campus.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Their first coming off a Division I year. They had a really nice year at 7-3, and you could argue they could have gone 8-2 easily. They let one get away in San Diego that I think eats at a lot of people. But still, I think the success that they had this year maybe surprised a few, and I think it shows that one, Coach Caruso knows what he's doing over there. Two, things are only going to get better. And I think right now, being in the Pioneer Football League is the perfect match for St. Thomas. Yeah. It really is. And it should be a lot of fun to see where they go moving forward.
How much fun did you have for your first year? Just, to kind of be the front man now on the radio, the Paul Stanley of, the Freddie Mercury of St. Thomas athletics.
I kind of got Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. Who's the other guy?
Paul Stanley?
Does he do some tools? Does he make tools?
Leader.
You guys are killing me. Move along.
Stanley Steamer?
Yeah. It's nice to, because there's not a lot of room in the spotlight behind you and Daryl.
Right.
So it was nice to get a little bit of light, as JG knows, right? No, it was a lot of fun, and worked with some great people over there in Io Idowu, who played for the Tommies, and then Chris Ohm, who coached at the Breck School for a long time and does some prep bowl stuff. So it was fun, man. Football Saturdays are where it's at, and the atmosphere, and there's a build up to the game all week, and then it happens, and it just means a lot because there's only 10 or 11 of these every year, 12, right? And so basketball's fun too, but you're doing 30 games.
Yeah.
There's only 11 or 12 of these, and they matter, and each one is a big deal, and it's fun to be a part of that.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, it's cool to watch, that you get your shot here to be the voice of a D1 program.
Well, thanks, man. I didn't appreciate all the texts of, man, I wish they would have hired somebody else, but I understood. I get it. But no, it was fun. I missed you guys, though. I missed the camaraderie and the fun that we had with the Gophers. But the good news is I'm getting that. I'm pretty likable, I've been told.
Very likable.
Yeah.
Very likable.
So
sure.
I get some, I've made some new friends over there.
You said the Tommies went to San Diego this year?
Yeah.
So did that trip in any way make up for the fact that you lost out on the women's basketball trip to the Bahamas that I got to take for 5 days?
Well, you sent me a lot of pictures, and I appreciate it.
It's kind of overcast.
Yeah.
It was kind of overcast.
But yeah, I made up for it a little bit.
That's a nice conference team to have.
It is.
Like, I want us to add USC and UCLA.
You got to go to Florida and North Carolina too, right? In the meantime, we're sloughing it in Champaign.
Underrated Champagne.
No.
Well, you're right though about basketball. What I noticed, and I told you this in my previous appearance, I didn't realize this. I guess I should have, because I watched like The Journey on Big Ten Network. Like, if you just wake up and you just look outside, you don't know where you are, because every Big Ten town is gray.
It's gray.
It's snowing. It's cold. And like here, you're used to it. Like, but you're just like, I looked at Lynette, your old partner, my partner. I'm like, this, I swear, we were just here. Like, whether it's Lansing, Bloomington, Lafayette,
Lansing's
Champaign.
Always gray. Penn State's always gray.
Yeah, it's just like just a lot of bus rides through gray plains. You're just like, huh.
But so remind me of some of the schools. So you were Orlando?
Yeah, outside of Orlando. Yeah, in DeLand, Florida.
Who's that?
Stetson, home of the Hatters.
And then who's in North Carolina?
Davidson.
And
it was cold that day.
Well,
I'm not going to lie to you.
And then you've got San Diego.
And
you've got the great trip to Des Moines.
Des Moines and Drake. And then you also have the Presbyterian Blue Hose, which is in South Carolina, Clinton, South Carolina.
That's their nickname?
The Blue Hose. Yeah.
Okay.
HOSE.
Don't mark explicit on the podcast. Go against your grain.
HOSE. HOSE. And then you have Marist in New York. And then you have Dayton, who the Tommies did not play. Valpo, Butler.
So you'll get the gray.
Yeah.
You'll get the gray.
And Morehead State in Kentucky.
Yeah. Depending on the time of the fall. But then the Summit League, that's a good basketball league.
It was a really fun league to be a part of. The Dakotas are who the Tommies will be chasing. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, question. South Dakota, North Dakota struggled this year. But if you can get in running with those, and I will tell you this, everywhere we went, I say we now. I'm allowed to do that,
well,
right?
because you're traveling with the team.
Yes,
you were
everywhere
there.
we went,
Yes.
people would say, "Oh, St. Thomas, that's not good for us," because North Dakota State, South Dakota State, they've made a big living on recruiting the Twin Cities.
Yeah, for sure.
And now you take that away from
Illinois.
them.
Yeah, 100%.
You take that away. Marquette, they're probably a little bit worried on the basketball side. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how the Tommies grow from here, and they're in really good hands, I think.
No doubt. We've got maybe 10, 12 minutes left, and we do want to have some time to talk about the fellowship times. Do we have a favorite
fellowship?
Yeah,
times.
the fellowship times. Do we?
Yeah, that's the issue. I'm going through my mind there. The family-friendly ones.
There's a different podcast for
the Gopher podcast.
We're in general.
Howard Stern
We haven't
when he
had
did.
anybody thrown in jail or get kicked out of a hotel. Like there are some radio crews that are like that. Like way back in the day, there's been some guys that have been in not at
a lot of your
Minnesota,
idols in the business
Yeah.
that you've kind of patterned yourself after.
Never. But I think my favorite trip, your friend Chris Gabriel, right?
Yeah.
Christopher Gabriel.
Yes. Out at Fresno. He took us to all these taco stands in Fresno a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was a good trip. That was a good food trip. And he's a great dude.
Yeah, unbelievable guy. Yeah, one of my favorites, and was up in Fargo actually at WDAY forever, and then got the job out there, and we had that on the calendar. That was one where I'm glad they kept the game, because we've seen all these games get like canceled. Like North Carolina, I think that's off the schedule now, or is it?
No, we're going there in a year.
That's right.
Or two.
It was off, then it was on.
I say we because we're going to be traveling.
I'm thinking about Navy. Like I was so fired up to go to the Naval Academy and see Annapolis. Like, oh yeah, we got out of that one. Yeah. Like so, the fact that Fresno that they had to return
BYU,
to home. That's
out.
another one. Because I remember Mark Coyle was even like, wait till we go to BYU. That's a great one.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess I'll.
Provo is beautiful, but for a crew like this, there's not much to do.
That's true. We'd have to bring our own fun.
Well, and COVID did that in because COVID knocked the game here out.
Yes.
So there was just not a So they punted
I think most of them revolve around food. I mean,
the taco stands were incredible.
Well, what a unique experience.
Yeah.
And we probably spent, now Christopher bought all mine, which was unnecessary.
Must be nice.
Yeah. But they probably spent like $13. I mean, everywhere we go.
It was
wasn't
great.
expensive.
Yeah, he took us to 3 different taco places because that's kind of the Fresno deal.
And then we still joke about it all these years later. On the flip side of that, our trip to Las Cruces.
Well, that's where I was going. I know Daryl wants to spend some time talking about Las Cruces.
You mess up a plate of nachos at a restaurant, you have no chance.
Well, and you think going to Las Cruces, and I'm sure this is what you thought, Daryl,
Exactly.
like they're probably going to have some pretty good Tex-Mex.
Yeah,
they're
going to put a decent nacho platter together.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that like during football season we talk about like training and we're
He
like
still talks
running,
about it.
biking, doing all these things. You got to throw your the low carb, the lettuce, that stuff has to go out the window
On Friday night.
I'm
That's your cheat night.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have some, I'm gonna have some chips. I'm gonna have some tacos. I'm gonna have some pasta. And you go to that place, and I still get like anger. I was like, what? Like, how can you mess up nachos?
We had that recommended to us, like, oh, it's a great place. And the green chilies were the big thing down there, right?
Yes.
That must be one of their. And
It's green chili or red chili.
Yeah,
in Mexico, pick one.
It's probably the worst meal we've had,
and it was
where we had an organized setup,
and it looked like a cool place. And also, it was right across the street from the hotel.
That's always
that was
nice.
part of the reason why we did it
Convenient.
too. So it was convenient. We didn't have to worry about that. But I mean, people that know Daryl, I would describe you. You're a slow burn guy.
Yeah.
Like you're not like Grim or me who's gonna fly off the handle about something stupid.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to bother you.
It does.
That's how you know, like, God, Daryl's pissed. Because like stuff that affects us, you just roll with it. You're so smooth. DT time. You just roll with it.
That'll be nice.
So when Daryl was hot about the nachos, I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't have those.
And
Those
the
must
food
have
was
sucked.
no good then either.
Yeah, I know.
That was crazy. So those are some non-conference trips. Do you have a favorite spot that we've had in the Big Ten? Because I know I've had this a lot. People are like, hey, if I travel with the Gophers and go watch a game.
I think that's what they should ask us, quite frankly.
Yeah, because that is our one area of expertise.
100%. We
right.
know. And the people are coming to a lot of road games now, which I think is great.
At some point when it's really quiet in the middle of the summer, we'll have us all back.
The food podcast.
And we'll do a food podcast, Big Ten food podcast. We'll probably get the most, whatever, listens or downloads that we'll ever have. But so this will be a little teaser for that coming in the coming weeks. But do you have a favorite?
That's pretty tough, but it's probably Madison, or it's become Indiana with my son being there, So I think I've just learned, and we got the great story about Buffaloese and you having a struggle. I see Mountain Dew over here.
Diet, Daryl. I'm watching the weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's we'll just leave that alone for right now. But I mean, I think
build it in. That was a Holiday Bowl story, which maybe we can share. But
right on.
Yeah, I agree. Buffalo's was there.
Yeah.
I was on a trying to find some Diet Dew, and they were a Pepsi place.
But he did. We got wings delivered and those wings are outstanding. My sons eat them.
They delivered wings to us at halftime.
I'm going there Friday. My son graduates. On Saturday, which we just found out about. He just kind of like, hey, I'm graduating. Are you going to come?
That's classic.
Yeah, I'd love driving like 9 hours to. And it was virtual last year, so I was like, if it's virtual, I am not coming. I love you to death, but I'm not driving 18 hours
to watch it on Zoom. Yeah,
to watch it virtually. So I will be in the car on Friday for. Well, basically 9 hours.
Listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Well,
of course.
So we're at halftime. That's another. So we go in for the Diet Dew.
Norwood Teague reference.
Yeah. So we go in we go into the Buffalo's. I get the Diet Dew.
Right.
And then the lady, the wife of the owner, is from Golden Valley. Was she Gustavus? Adolphus grad, something.
Yeah.
So because she saw her Gopher here, so we strike up a conversation.
Meanwhile, by the way, we won't tell the whole story. I am really hungover at this point.
Yeah, that was
that was my one trip to Indiana.
Yeah, like all these years we travel and we joke around. It's tame as ever. Like we're just dudes. We're just some dudes that go eat food.
Yeah,
and Daryl might have, but Daryl is so low key. He could be 0.2 and we wouldn't know it, right? You, on the other hand, at Indiana that night,
we'll tell the whole story another time.
Some other day. Yeah, that was a good
not
one.
as interested in the
that's
wings.
Really one time in all of our travels, that was
11 years. I was not really interested in the wings at like 10:30 in the morning.
Or stopping for the Diet Dew
or doing anything, or being in a car or doing anything. That was not the most professional I've ever been the night before.
That was amazing. We have, now that you've opened the door, and we're going to walk into this room for a minute, because you interviewed an assistant coach at that time, and you had a pregame to a pregame.
Yeah.
And so I've never heard any broadcaster in the history of broadcasting do this, but he tapes the interview in the morning, right? At like 8 in the morning.
It was
he'd only been in bed for 2 hours. And now we're ready to start.
And Bill Miller was a gruff-sounding guy anyway, right?
So Gargie's like, now it's 2:30, 3:30 East Coast game.
I'd nurse myself back to health.
He's feeling better, and he's like, welcome to the Gopher pregame, to the pregame show. We're on KFAN.
That's a terrible Gargie.
I know. And he says, I talked to Bill Miller earlier, and never have I ever heard this. I want to apologize for how I sound in this interview.
It was a little early.
It was a little early. And then you told Bill Miller that maybe you were feeling a little on the weather. He's like,
I texted him the night before.
Yeah,
I texted him the night before. I said, I'm going to be coming in hot. We're getting after it tonight. And he goes, good for you.
Good for you.
So I didn't feel that bad.
But anyway, we get to Buffalo's where, and the guy, Ed, right? The owner, Ed says, hey, want some, we'll send some wings to the stadium. Great. So we're at halftime, and here comes Norwood Teague with this big box of wings. He's like, yeah, some guy at the elevator, they wouldn't let him up, so I happened to be there, and he said, take him to the Gopher radio crew. So we're sent it to Corbu. Corbu's back here just down the hall from where we're taping this podcast. And I look over and Daryl's eating these wings. He's got juice running down his arm. He's got, they were some of the all-time great wings, but that was a good story. Buffalo's. And of course, Zagreb, Indiana's my favorite trip for sure in basketball. We barely go there in football. The arena is was that on this podcast or before?
Assembly
we talked about Lindsay said that was her favorite spot too. Love it. You got the 5 championship banners. Bob Knight stalked the sidelines. The arena's awesome, loud. But Zagreb's is just such a cool hangout. So if you do go to if you're a basketball fan and there's one Big Ten trip you want to make, my suggestion is, and maybe Daryl will give you right, his car's on auto cruise on that trek. He doesn't even have to look anymore.
Friday, come on down.
Yeah, Daryl's
ready
would
for
be my
race
suggestion.
To stop going. We're not running it back anymore. Stop running it back.
Stay in the city circle downtown or the town square. Go to Zagreb, get a hotel, and go watch the Gophers and Hoosiers play. It's a great trip. But Zagreb's my spot. What's yours? That's in Bloomington.
Well, I liked, and I don't even know if this place is still open because of COVID. Like a lot of these restaurants might have closed down, but because we didn't, is Alexander's, the place in Champaign.
Yeah, I think that's still open.
Is it? Where you cook your own steaks.
Yeah.
I like that one.
The ribeye there, I think, did close down.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to the salad bar?
Great salad bar. Best salad bar in the Big Ten for sure.
Yeah, so that would be, I like Champaign because you can walk everywhere. Like for the most part. Alexander's we had to drive, but I like that we stay right next to the hotel. I like that there's a Steak and Shake right next door, and which is another great story. When you got in a fight with people in the Gopher communications department left, we should tell that story.
I had enough for the night.
That story sometime.
They weren't willing to share some info that I thought they should be sharing with the voice of the Gophers. So
but anyway,
we had a nice
that was a good one because you've got the Hooters right there too, where you can get the big mugs of beer and then the food and then the Steak and Shake. It's just a nice trifecta. The cook your own steak, the beer, and then the Steak and Shake shake at the end of the night, and then just walk back to the hotel.
As Daryl said, it's not a low carb night when we're out eating on Friday.
I was thinking about it. I mean, we used to, because the team used to have 2 meals when they would leave. You'd get like your KFC chicken fingers walking on the bus. Then you'd get to the airport, and there'd be like a whole other set of food.
Like a pizza or a
they've cut back on that where it's only the one meal now, and thank goodness that they have, because I would eat both of them. I just didn't care. I would say whatever. I mean, I'm thinking
we got to get back on the plane. We got to drink that water and just keep on.
I'm thinking,
can't be gory.
What was Daryl's line?
Don't eat that, Mike.
Don't eat that, Mike. Yeah, because we were this was about 7 years ago.
Don't eat that, Mike.
That was a J.D. Hoyt's Buddy Bowl or something, wasn't it? And we were both low carbonate big, trying to stay, in relative decent. And I start to eat in, and Daryl's trying to keep me on the low, on the straight and narrow. And he's like, "Don't eat that, Mike.
Don't eat that, Mike."
And the other one is when Dan Robotham stole a bite of your cookie. Our great engineer, one of the all-time great engineers, were sitting on the bus.
Gartzy's
a cookie
still
comes
hot
with
about
it,
that.
and he just reached over and broke a piece off the cookie and ate it. And we all thought it was fun. And Gartzy just snapped,
There's 2
lost
things.
his mind.
And you did this to me earlier today, and I didn't snap.
I slapped you on the chest.
Hate that.
Yeah,
I don't like being
to be
touched. And I don't like when people just take my food. I'm happy to give
That's
you
just
some.
an invitation now for me to slap you whenever I see you.
Yeah, I know, but it's like
that's never an open invitation.
There's a few boundaries. There's a few boundaries.
I know. Laying hands on other guys.
We've
seen examples.
Well, he gives him a hug, and he gives. So we had lunch prior to the podcast. Daryl, you were too busy to join us, and so Gardsy walks in. Corbu and I have already had a nice conversation. He gives Corbus a hug, and nothing. He just sits next to me, so I slapped him in the chest. Hey, good to see you. Anyway, your favorite spot, Corbu, in the Big Ten as you made your travels over the years?
I always ate with the team.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Was it the same meal every?
It's the right price.
It is actually really nice.
Yeah,
you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Was it the same meal? Did they just send the same fax into every hotel?
Under the first 2 coaches before Lindsey Whalen, it was like by the end of the season, I had enough chicken and pasta to last me.
Because when you eat with
summer.
the team, that doesn't mean they go out to eat. They stay in the hotel. You go to
catered.
a conference room and eat it. Yeah.
But then Melissa Mayans, who's their director of basketball operations, mixes it up.
And so different food. Do you never go out?
No.
Yeah,
we
there
did
are
a
some
couple
teams
times.
that travel and will go out to
post game. The post game food was exemplary this year. Garrett Solis, assistant director of ops, I give him props. We had some unbelievable pizza in Des Moines. Penn State, we actually went to a restaurant because our flight was a little.
You guys
bit
get
delayed.
ice cream if you win too.
If you win, yeah.
They're threatening to leave Spencer and I behind. Like if you don't get on the bus, we're going to leave. And you guys are stopping for ice cream. It's crazy the difference.
I mean, it's Gardsy and me.
Man,
it's super likable.
Yeah,
and super integral part of the team. We just ate with the team. We've mealed with them. We've hung out with them.
Yeah,
but I'm just like, it is amazing how basketball coaches are just dying to get out of town, like win or lose. And they're basically waiting for us to sign off because they're all showered. They've got their deal, and we've never really been close to being left. But
we were
like,
close.
So your rush
football.
is what? You're going to be home at midnight or 12:20. Are we really? And but they want to get back. They want to get back. They got to get back. We're getting back overnight. But women's basketball, you guys just make time for ice cream. Nobody cares. We're going to stop and get ice cream.
If you win, you got to enjoy it a little bit.
Man, I love that. Although that wouldn't be good for the low carb.
Are you like a cake batter kind of guy? Or?
Truthfully, I didn't get ice cream a lot because I'd already eaten the other meal. I'm like, oh man, I got to pull it together a little bit. Yeah. I had Daryl in my head. Don't eat that. Don't eat that.
Don't do it.
Don't eat that, Mike. Every once in a while, I would. The first couple.
All right, 2 last stories, two final things. Back to New Mexico State, when I occasionally can wear out my welcome. I like to agitate Gardsy, and so I had a real good day going in that regard as we fly down to New Mexico State.
That's a long flight because you basically you fly to El Paso.
And then we bus to from El Paso. It's another hour. You're sitting next to me.
You fly to El Paso.
I mean, I knew we were a long ways down when my phone switched to international service to Mexico, and we're still in the U.S., but we're that
you
close.
can see it right across the border,
It's right there. So we get to the hotel, and Guardsy says, "I need some time.
No, I said
some
it on
alone
the
time."
bus.
Yeah, would you say
I
on
said it
alone
on the
time?
Yeah, I said it on
Just
the bus.
like or grim free or something.
Because we have the itineraries, right, DT, that they'll print out for you. And this one we had like hang tags. So it's like, 12 o'clock security, 1 o'clock flight, land at 3:30, El Paso time, bus, get home at 5. I go, on my itinerary, I'm going to have them start putting break from grim.
Right.
It's just going to be like 4 to 5, like where I just need like
Some silence.
30 minutes. Yeah. Just 30. Not
that particular day, you were hoping for a good hour of
because it was, you're flying down to the southern border, Mexico and the United States. That's a long flight. And then you're
the
on
bus
a bus.
Was an hour, probably.
Yes, because there's no way to get to Las Cruces.
And you were probably like right next to him, right?
Yes.
Not like,
And then
here,
we
my
keep-
seat, space, row,
No,
seat,
the
space.
football plane, as you know, is packed.
Yeah.
There's no middle seat.
There's nothing. We're jammed. So we get to the hotel, and he gets his key. I get my key. We're walking down the hallway, and as luck would have it, I see he's right next to me.
Yeah,
so he
wonderful.
goes in. I go into my room and drag in, and guess what?
Connected room.
Joining. So I open my door and knock, assuming he's just going to say, "To hell with that. I'm not answering." He opened the door. And he's like, "What?" And I just walk in and sit down. And he had a little more grim time before we go to the restaurant and have the awful nachos. But
You remember the name of the place,
my
DP?
favorite story, I'll keep it super brief, was when we were in UNLV and you guys, I just like implicitly trust you guys. I'm like, we're going to get the game. I am not a fan of getting to the game more than an hour before we need to go on the air.
Yeah.
And
You
we're
guys
on
like
the
an hour
opposite
and a
end.
half,
We like
2
to get
hours.
there way
But
before.
we got to this game like 4 hours before.
So we're staying at
blew
UNLV.
it.
We're way out in like some
food,
Henderson.
no
Henderson, but
tailgaters
it's even like at
there
this,
yet.
we
this
blew it.
hotel that was going to go broke, and so we're there. It was a nice hotel, and they were just giving rooms away. So we're there, and it's a long place to. Is it Jim Boyd Stadium or
Sam Boyd
Stadium, where it's a long way. So I get a night. This is even almost pre-Uber, right? I think it is. So I rent like a because it's a long ways, and we had
was
to
like
be
a
there
big
early.
suburban.
It was a big suburban, nice, and
You got your own row then.
so
No,
so
we had a lot of
we had
people.
screwed up.
And Daryl.
So JG and I usually say we want to be there 2 hours at least before we're on the air. Well, we had the pregame to the pregame at that point, and then the pregame.
But that's what we screwed up. We didn't have
and
the
we messed the
pregame.
time up.
Yeah.
So not only did we mess it up, we messed it up even an extra hour.
And
so
the
we're,
time zone.
We're riding along. Yeah, that's because of the time switch. We flipped it. So we're driving to the stadium.
Let Daryl give his recollections of it.
No, I just like started looking. I'm like, gosh, it seems kind of.
Well, didn't we stumble upon that while we were on the road?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man,
like it's like when's the game? It's like the game starts like at 9
It's like 5
back in
hours.
Minnesota. I was like, well, we're not. I said, what are we doing on this bus?
Yeah, so I said to JG, I'm like, I think we're gonna be there. We're gonna get there 3 hours. I think 3 hours now before kickoff. And from the back of the SUV, Daryl goes, "Then why are we on this bus?"
It was terrible.
Yeah, that was bad.
So we got there way
and then
early.
that game went double overtime.
Then it went overtime.
Yeah.
So this is 3 hours before we go on the air.
Before we go on the air.
So this
Yeah.
is not 3
So
hours
it's
before
5
the game.
hours before the kick. Yeah.
And it's
No
not
food.
like even like
Nothing.
And no atmosphere.
Well,
like
that's it.
UNLV does not care
Nothing.
about
Well, and it's out in the middle of
athletics.
nowhere. Like
Yeah.
even if it was like at where the new Raiders Stadium's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, we got here early. Let's just walk the strip for a while and find something to do. There was nothing to do.
Nothing.
It was,
Nothing.
and it's not like the press box had like great amenities. Like sometimes we'll just go kick it around in the couch or an area or whatever.
Right.
No, that was
No
that
slot
was
machines to pass
that
the
was
time.
a miss. That was a bad miss.
And then, then my last thing, you want time away from Grim. And then we also have what we call on the road DT time, where there's this like mysterious 90 minutes to 2 hours every road trip that we have no idea, production meeting, something, who knows.
I'm a community
And we
guy.
we call that DT time. Like so I got to tell this. So one day we go out to eat a nice meal in Lincoln, right? And
Well, that was
Daryl
the time.
didn't.
That's my favorite story when it was like the radio broadcast like fraternity because we had to share rooms because they didn't have as many. They didn't have.
Yeah, we
so
had 4 in my room, and
and Daryl and I were in a room, and that was combined room, and it felt like we were in a dorm.
It was like college all
Great,
over again. So we go out, and I don't remember. You had friends there too, or something. So you didn't go eat with us for maybe that might be the only time we didn't share
I think we had
a meal.
A donor deal.
Yeah, like
The
you had to go to
Country Inn and
Omaha or
Suites.
something. So we're staying in Lincoln. We come back. We had a buddy there from Des Moines who had his car, and we're riding in his car, and we pull in, and we're at the hotel, and we look out, and way out in the far stretches of the parking lot, under like the Comfort Inn sign, Daryl's on his cell phone. And we drive over, like, what are you doing? He goes, it's DT time. Okay, then. All right, DT, our guy.
You got to have boundaries, JG.
It's
like
great.
if you've anything from Daryl, it's you learn that you got to have boundaries.
I know.
He is the absolute best, though.
Yeah, well, that's Daryl, though. Daryl, that's why he gets the big ovation to bring it full circle. That's why, because he can run his own stuff.
You Boulder Options going good. You have your golf outing coming up. Let's get a quick plug in of
June 1st. If anyone's interested, we don't have a lot to spots left.
So
if
hurry
someone
up.
wants to golf, they need to get in there.
Okay, awesome.
You guys might need to come back.
BoulderOptions.com?
BoulderOptions.org.
BoulderOptions.org. BOLDER.
Yes.
Awesome. Gentlemen, Guardsy, as we tape this, you're about due for a radio show to put together.
Only in 15 minutes.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Can't
It
wait to
was
be back.
fun to get the band together here in the off season. Hopefully people enjoy it.
I think we need to do the food podcast.
Oh, for sure we will. We might have to make it a two-parter.
Yeah, we'll do the Big Ten West and the Big Ten East.
Yeah. And then throw in some non-conference and what have you. Corbu, awesome to see you, man.
Yeah, great to be with you guys again.
DT, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
There it is, episode number 18. My thanks to Daryl Thompson, Justin Guard, and Corbu Stathes. We'll have those guys back later in the summer for our special Big Ten food podcast at some point. This week's Go Gopher podcast, as always, is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. We're also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland. Brandon Morton is our producer and technical expert. And again, we invite you to listen to the podcast from weeks gone by. And please be sure to hit the subscribe button right now to the Go Gopher podcast. It's absolutely free to listen. We'll talk again next week.